Attention passionate New York Giants fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the NFC East and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on New York Giants' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true New York Giants fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with your friends and New York Giants fans. Let's get to the news now, guys. What we're seeing right now in the NFL landscape is pretty wild, especially when it comes to the NFC East, a division that's always been known for its fierce competition and unpredictable twists. And this latest move, this trade involving Russell Wilson, is causing ripples across the entire league. And of course, it's got huge implications for the New York Giants. So let's unpack everything, the details, the strategic implications, and what this could mean for the Giants' future. Because honestly, it's not just about the current season, it's about setting up the division for years to come. So here's the scoop. Reports from reliable sources like Adam Schefter reveal that the Giants are actively engaged in trade talks, and the buzz is that they are negotiating with the Atlanta Falcons to send Russell Wilson, who's been a veteran presence and a former Pro Bowler, to Atlanta in exchange for a conditional fourth-round pick in the 2026 NFL Draft. Now, at first glance, this might seem like just another transaction, but when you dig deeper, it's clear this move is part of a bigger strategy for both teams. The Giants, who are currently sitting at a 2-4 record, are facing a tough season, and their offensive line has been underperforming, allowing an average of 3.8 sacks per game. That's a serious problem when you're looking at playoffs odds of just under 10%. Moving Wilson, who's on a hefty cap hit of around $30 million, might seem counterintuitive, but it's all about clearing space and focusing on rebuilding. For the Giants, this deal isn't just about getting rid of a veteran quarterback who has struggled with injuries and consistency in recent years, especially in 2024, when his hand injury limited him to just 14 games. It's about reorienting the team's future, focusing on developing Jackson Dart, a promising young quarterback who's shown flashes of potential. Dart, who completed about 60% of his passes in 2025 with 6 touchdowns to 5 interceptions, is seen as the future of the franchise. The Giants are betting on his talent, his mobility, and his ability to grow into a leader under pressure, and by freeing up around $1.4 million in cap space with this Wilson trade, they can now look at extending key players, possibly building around Dart for the seasons ahead. Now, let's talk about Russell Wilson himself. The guy, despite the ups and downs, still has a lot to offer. Back in 2025, he's been used in relief, with a completion rate of 12 of 20 passes for 158 yards and a touchdown, earning a solid PFF grade of 82. For his yards per attempt, around 8.2, and his EPA per dropback, slightly negative at -0.10, don't tell the whole story though. Wilson has been known throughout his career as a clutch player, especially in play-action situations where his success rate is around 62%. It's worth noting that he's been relatively healthy this year, no injuries so far, but last year's hand injury limited him to just 14 games. Still, his career stats are impressive, with over 43,000 passing yards, 334 touchdowns, and a career PFF grade averaging around 88.6. He's also accumulated nearly 500 rushing yards, making him a dual-threat quarterback capable of extending plays and creating opportunities on the ground. This trade also makes a lot of sense for the Falcons, who are currently 3-3 in the NFC South. They're in the mix, contenders with a solid defense and a talented roster led by Kirk Cousins, who has an EPA per pass of around 0.15 and allows only about 22 points per game. Adding Wilson as a backup or veteran mentor is a strategic move, especially considering the Falcons' offensive weapons like Drake London. With Wilson's experience and leadership, the Falcons can expect to see an increase of around 250 yards passing per game if he's called upon to step in as a starter, and his presence is projected to boost Kirk Cousins' QBR from 89.2 to about 95 in relief. That's a significant upgrade, especially on third downs, where the Falcons could see a 14% increase in conversions. Wilson's ability to elevate the red zone efficiency Increasing touchdowns from 1-3 to 2-0 per game adds another layer of value to this trade. And let's not forget the bigger picture. This move could be a game-changer not just for the Falcons, but for the entire NFC playoff picture. The odds for the Super Bowl have already shifted, jumping from +8, 0 to +4, 500 according to BetMGM, reflecting increased confidence in the Falcons' championship chances. Wilson, with his postseason experience, averaging around 2-1 touchdowns per game in the playoffs, brings a veteran presence that can stabilize the team during critical moments. Think about it. A Falcons team with Wilson backing up Kirk Cousins, developing younger players like London, and focusing on a balanced attack could pose a serious threat in the postseason. Their projection is around 11-6 for the regular season, with a solid shot at the NFC title, especially if Wilson's mentorship helps unlock the full potential of their offense. Now, from the Giants' perspective, this trade is part of a broader rebuild strategy. They're shedding cap space, acquiring draft capital, and focusing on developing young talent. The emphasis on extending players like Brian Burns indicates a long-term vision for building a competitive roster. Wilson's departure creates space and flexibility, allowing the Giants to focus on their future instead of trying to patch a struggling season. It's a smart move, really. The goal is to set up a solid foundation for the next few years, with Dart as the quarterback of the future and a revamped offensive line that can protect him better. Plus, by trading Wilson now, they're avoiding the risk of losing him for nothing at the end of the season, and they're planning ahead for a brighter tomorrow. Looking ahead, the NFL trade deadline on November 4th is going to be a crucial date. Teams will be making strategic moves, and the Giants and Falcons are clearly looking to position themselves for success. For the Giants, it's about starting a rebuild, focusing on young players, and accumulating draft picks. For the Falcons, it's about contending now, leveraging veteran leadership, and creating a more versatile and experienced roster. The question is, how will this impact the NFC East and NFC playoff race? Will the Giants find their footing with Dart under center? Can the Falcons sustain their momentum and make a real push? These are the questions that fans should be asking, and honestly, it's what makes this NFL season so exciting. And speaking of the Giants, let's not forget the core of the team, their defense, which has been mostly solid, and their promising young players. But the offense has struggled to find consistency, partly because of the offensive line issues and partly because of the quarterback situation. Now, with this potential move, they're signaling that they're willing to make bold decisions to set themselves up for future success. They're not just looking at this season, they're building for the next, and that's what true contenders do. The focus on extending players like Brian Burns indicates their commitment to creating a balanced and resilient team, capable of competing at the highest level in the coming years. So, as fans, what should we take away from all of this? First, that the NFL is always evolving, and strategic trades like this can shift the entire landscape. Second, that the Giants are making moves, even if they're not competing for a Super Bowl right now, to ensure they're on the right track for the future. And third, that the NFC is stacked with talented quarterbacks, veteran leaders, and young stars ready to make their mark. It's a wild ride, and every decision counts. The Giants' rebuild seems to be gaining momentum, and the addition of a veteran like Wilson to the Falcons could be just what they need to push over the edge. Now, for all you Giants fans out there, I want to hear your thoughts. Do you think trading Wilson was the right move? Are you excited about Jackson Dart's potential? And how do you see this affecting the Giants' chances to make the playoffs or even challenge for another Super Bowl run? Drop your comments below, because your opinion really matters, not just to us, but to the future of this team. Remember, I'll be back soon with more updates, more news, and deeper insights into what's happening in the NFL and especially with our beloved New York Giants. So stay tuned, keep the passion alive, and let's see how this story unfolds. Because in the NFL, just when you think you know everything, something like this happens and flips the entire script. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.